Hey, I'm Stephanie Wilbur.
And I'm Tag.
And we both grew up in the church. We met in college and then got married in 2017. We moved down to Palm Beach Gardens, and I worked as the athletic trainer at Palm Beach Gardens High School. So yeah, I spent a big chunk of time as part of my job working with the football team, and that was kind of our first exposure to working with at-risk youth from the West Palm and Riviera Beach area. Started to see how hard family situations were, what the kids were exposed to at that age, and like how crime was already becoming an issue. And then how they were so hungry for role models and they were going to get it from somewhere, whether that be from a Christian influence or not.
So at that time, we were very career focused. We had our dreams of living in a nice house with a yard and a nice garage to restore cars in. Right after we lived down here, we moved back up to North Carolina to both go to graduate school together. And when we were there, we joined a church that had this saying, and it was, is your yes on the table, or put your yes on the table. And what that meant is that your yes was whatever God wants you to do, are you willing to do it?
We started to get really convicted by how much we were idolizing our career, our time, our comfort, and our safety over what God had for us. We were more focused on kind of squeezing God into our plans when it was convenient for us, instead of forming our lives around God and what His mission and plan looked like.
And we were driving up from where we lived in North Carolina to further west, like the mountains, looking at the leaves changing in the fall, and we were supposed to graduate in the spring. I think Steph asked, like, well, if our yes is on the table, like, would we drop out of school before we finished and like not pursue physical therapy anymore? And like I'd like roll the window down and like stick my head out the window, and I got like really sick to my stomach. And we realized that was like a very pivotal moment where we realized how much of an idol like our careers were.
But as we were kind of praying and like surrendering more and more during that time, our hearts kind of went back to like the kids we were working with in Riviera Beach.
We were like looking on Zillow, looking at listings of houses, and we were going to buy a house. And
yeah, we were just going to go for it. Just pick a random house and go.
Yeah.
And do ministry.
Yeah, that would have been wild. So my dad was like, why don't you talk to Chris Tress? And we had known Chris and Colleen for a number of years. We used to go camping with them, but it was kind of tangential. We didn't really know them super well. We called Chris one day, and at this point we were like, okay, our yes is on the table. We are going to move to West Palm, Riviera Beach. We don't really know what it looks like. And we're like, okay, Chris, like, we're going to move here. Like, what are we going to do when we are there? And Chris was very casual, and he was just like, there isn't really going to be a plan right now. You're not going to have it all figured out. You just need to come down and be here.
Well, we ended up buying a house sight unseen on 21st and Tamarind, moved in, and then showed up at Bow Down on Sunday morning, ready to go. And from day one of living there, it's been clear that's exactly where God has wanted us. It wants us to be. It's been rough.
Yeah, there's definitely been like a bunch of like sketchiness happen, but it's never really made us question whether or not we were supposed to be there. Our house has been shot at. Right now we have a bullet hole, like our window's shattered from a stray bullet. We found a bunch of bullets in our yard and by our cars.
We were outside when a drive-by shooting happened within sight.
Yeah.
Within eyesight.
Yeah,
I got attacked by our neighbor's dog in our front yard. We got attacked by a hobo at Hooks.
Yeah. Yeah, we were assaulted by a homeless guy.
We started serving at Twin Lakes. From day one, we met this one girl. She was 10 years old. Started building a relationship with her, and she accepted Christ pretty early on. We started getting to know her family and just continuing to build the relationship. Soon after I started mentoring her officially, she suddenly, her great-grandmother who had raised her, was her caregiver, suddenly had a stroke, was in a coma for a few weeks and then passed in the hospital. We had the opportunity, because of the obedience over months in building a relationship and nurturing that relationship, suddenly had the opportunity to walk through that time with her family and with her through a time where they were rocked.
So it's been really amazing to join an existing ministry that God has been working on for 20 plus years, and we get to come and be a part of it. And we can really confidently say that the work is really hard, but like we wouldn't trade it for anything. We've been really blessed by the Lord, and that He's given us the desire of our hearts.